Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of City Skylines. My name is CityZilla, and today we are in the city of Crater Lake, where we are going to be building out a vintage seashore, and I'm actually super excited about this one. This one's going to be fun. And so on the last episode, we built out this awesome Art Deco area, and after receiving a comment from one of my more loyal commenters, VE5VV, I came to the realization that I did not do a lot of parking here, and it's kind of funny because when the one time that I've been to Miami Beach, we didn't actually get out because there was no parking. In this episode, I said that we were going to build out the resorts area here and then probably do a mid-century modern area here. Well, after looking at the beach across the channel, I felt like this would just be a better location for it. I do want to give this area a little bit of lore. So we have Dan Stevens, who owns this very large, profitable forestry business over here, and he actually was involved in the investments of our casino island and our little cruise ship terminal like thing up here. But then we have the Cashman Foundation, or family, who built out this recent mall and this large development a couple episodes ago. And so they are coming together after taking a trip to the Jersey Shore together. And they decided that they wanted, to build something like that in Crater Lake. That Crater Lake was really missing this kind of vintage seashore kind of idea. And so the city is unanimously happy about this new investment. It's going to be a great new addition for the city. And so let's go ahead and jump right in. So before we do anything, I did end up coming through here and kind of messing with the terrain a little bit. This hill was kind of like all over the beach, and I felt like trimming it back and making this cliff face was going to be a little bit better. I really like the look of this, and it's going to provide us an opportunity to do something fun up here. So we need to now look at access. We have great access over here. We have a road connecting to this freeway going all the way down to our beach. We have metro, which I think we will get some sort of mass transit over here. I don't know if it's going to be metro. So what I'm thinking is if we can get a bridge going across, it's really going to help to provide some great accessibility over here. But then another thing that I'm thinking, we have our freeway, which kind of dead ends right here. I'm thinking if we turn this down, come up over here and have it come all the way over here and terminate into our plaza, it's going to really provide some great accessibility for a lot of people. And so it's going to make it a lot easier for people to get around. And then it's really going to segue into us building into this area, because we do also have this couplet, this kind of dies, which I'm thinking will curve across, go this way. And so I'm going to go ahead and throw in this road real quick. Okay, so I threw in the highway. I went through our network multi-tool, the slope mode, smoothened it out, and then what I had the highway do was collapse into this undivided highway going into a tunnel and then come out here on the other side of the hill. I think this is really fun. One last thing I do need to check if we jump into the slope mode, hold shift. I just want to make sure that this isn't some crazy hill. No, it looks really smooth. That looks perfect. And so that is going to help us to get people over here and away. And so now let's go to our bridge. So if we jump in to find it, search up bridge, I got this awesome one right here. So Lowry Avenue Bridge, and it is by Leo Mystic Magic. And because we have the Art Deco area along with this now vintage area, I felt like this was just going to be a really fun fit for this area. So I want to kind of line it up with this couplet over here. So if we go like right there, yeah, that's probably good. And then we will go into move it, grab this and hit copy. And we're going to go all the way across, and I want to turn off that. Yeah, I don't want it to follow terrain. I want these to be the same height. That'd be pretty important. So we're going to go like this. And the reason we're coming out a little bit further is because I want it to go over the road a bit. That actually looks like it's just a little too far. So we'll go like that. So one of the cool things with this bridge is that it actually changes color. So we have like a green, purple, looks like this is a yellow. So this is actually a really good mix of colors. I like this. I think this is fun. We'll probably come back through and do some floodlights underneath it as well. And so now let's go into a 4-unit road, and let's actually do a 6-unit, since this could potentially turn into a really busy road. And so let's go to unmodded. We'll keep it on a force elevated piece. So now we want to go just one above, and we're going to come all the way across. And so now let's look at that road, make sure that we don't have any weird kind of things happening. It looks pretty good. Those lights are a little high, but honestly, I'm not worried about it. I think it's good. One of the fun things with this too is it puts the pillars like right in the middle of this, so maybe it's just like added supports. I think it actually works out. So it does look like we need to just smidge this up a little bit. So we'll grab that. We'll go into the freeform tool, and we will come up here and have it go into this. And I want it to go in at like a 90, so we'll go like that. And let's actually make a crossing for this too. This would be a really good location for a crossing. And I don't think we need that middle piece to be a bridge piece. And I think we're actually going to turn this into ground pieces as well. So if we go like that, just because a lot of times, I think that this helps with construction costs. So it's pretty common, at least where I'm from, for them not to put actual pillars or anything like a bridge piece unless they have to. They normally will just do like a packed earth kind of deal. And so now let's come in here, and I want this road to curve up onto the hillside. So we're going to grab this and we'll come out here and we will have it curve. And then I want it to go down to the ground. We don't need it to be 100 feet in the air. I don't know if that would be necessary. So now I don't think we're going to do anything else with that, but it is going to segue into a bigger build probably down the road. And so let's jump into our road down here. So I want to do a standard road coming out so that it would give people time to kind of break. So we will go like this. Let's actually see how far we are. So maybe we will go just a little bit further, give us a little more room for building off this side, and then let's go into another road. I honestly don't know if we'll need a 6-lane, so I think we're going to go into a 4-lane with trees in the middle. And so what I'm thinking is we will come up this way and have it follow the beach a little bit. So we'll have it go this way and then come all the way down. And so we are going to probably trim back the beach just a little bit. I want to get some zoning on that side, and so we will then follow the same thing on this side. So we'll have it come back and then follow that beach all the way down. And again, the same on this side. We'll probably trim that beach just a little bit. So we'll go like that. Nice. And so now we have our first little section. Let's actually trim back this hillside just a little bit. I feel like this is kind of encroaching upon the idea here. So if we trim that back just a little bit, go like that. And so now we will go into a 4-unit road again, and let's create a little crossing in here. Go like that. Nice. And then let's look at this slope. This one actually looks pretty good. So then we will grab this, come all the way down. Yeah, there we go. You know, it's still pretty high, but honestly, I don't know if the degrees in this game are off because this doesn't look that high. It looks manageable. And so now we'll probably do something fun with this area too. It does look like we can upgrade this to a ground piece now that it's not 100 feet into the air. And so that's where the bridge would meet. This is our connection, which I think is fantastic. And so now let's go into our lovely plaza area, and then we'll start kind of designing this out. So the first thing we need to do is go into our districts tab and paint out a pedestrian area. And we are going to do pretty much this whole section. We're not going to go as wide as I'm drawing out, but I'd rather just go a little bit further just in case. And so now I do want to go in here and trim back our beach just a little bit. So we will go like this, go all the way down. And so we do, what I'm thinking is we're going to go into a pedestrian road. And I want to use these ones with this concrete. I think we're going to end up putting down decals. So large cobblestone, maybe we'll do cobblestone. That could actually be good. So let's look at this. So if we come out, let's look at this road. You know what? I actually really like that. I think that looks just gorgeous. I like that the cobblestones are there. I really like these DLCs. These are probably some of the best DLCs we've seen in a long time. They add so much functionality. As the plazas, I mean, it's a game changer, but then also mid-century modern and the resorts are just fantastic. The amount of content that came out with them is just so great. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to stick with that cobblestone, and we're going to go down to a 2-unit road. So street with grass. So bluestone, we want the cobblestone. Is it this one? I think it's this one, yeah. So small cobblestone pedestrian street with grass and trees. Nice. So we're going to come out here, go out 10, and we're going to come up probably, I want to do 3. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll go in 10 units, create a square, go up 10 units, create a square, perfect. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. We'll go down, create a square, go down, create a square, and do the same thing here. Nice. And so we do want this to be kind of sloped. You know what? It actually doesn't look bad. This one looks a little steep, but I don't know if that would be too bad. So let's look at this. So let's grab these and go all the way down. Because again, we don't want people falling in. I feel like that would be a bad look for us. So we'll grab these and then we will hit Control H, go like that. And then we will do the same thing here, go like that. Nice. And do the same thing here. Okay, and so we are definitely looking at something a little bit better here now. And so we are going to soften the terrain up, go like this, because I want to work with the hillside, but I also want it to be realistic. Like the building on a 15 or 20% grade would be very challenging. And so even in real life, like I don't know if they would do that without huge retaining walls, which we're already going to put in retaining walls. And so I think that this is much more manageable, and it actually looks better too. Like, look at that. All right, and so this looks a lot better. And I just got to say, these roads are fantastic. I'm super excited about what this is going to do. And so the first thing I want to do is go into Find It, and we are going to create a new tab, bring this up, go into Require DLC CCP, and go all the way down to, if we can find it, Seaside Resorts. And I want to do this Asbury Park Pavilion. I actually want to do 2 of them. So we're going to go ahead and place it down, and then what we're going to do is grab it and turn it and bring it up over here. Let's go ahead and raise it up so that we wouldn't have half of our dock under the water. I feel like that would be a bad look for us. And so we'll go like this, do the same thing, and it looks like this one's a little higher up. I'm not worried about it because we're actually going to do a little quay wall here, especially because in older cities you didn't have like mass transit, and so the whole city was pretty much designed around walking. And so to have any sort of storm surge or major accident happen would literally destroy everybody's life. And so I think having a quay wall kind of tied in with the lore would make sense. Like maybe there was a big storm and then they built it afterwards, after the whole city had been destroyed or something like that. So now we're going to go back in to Find It, and we will go to this New Orchard Ocean Pier. So we are going to grab this and bring this down, and we are going to raise this up. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. I really like that. I think that just looks super cool. And we'll bring this down. We'll go like this. Nice. You know what? I really like the look of this. And so we are going to now do our key wall. So if we go in here, create another tab, go to keys, and then what I'm going to be doing, I want to find one that has stone. Yeah, it's this one right here. So Stonewall Key Tiered, and this one is by Pixel_Monster. And so we are going to go into the freeform tool, and I want the key to begin like right here. So I think we're actually going to trim our beach back just a little bit. So we will go in here and just smoothen this out a little bit. It's actually going to help us capture a little bit better of a look for our water anyway. So we'll go like this, and we're going to do the same thing on this side, go like this. We're not going to go too far out because again, cities were not very large. And so I don't think having a huge, massive metropolis on this little beach is very realistic. So then we will come up over here, go like that, and let's go ahead and do the same thing on this side, and we are going to connect up that key. So go like that. Yeah, you know what? This actually looks pretty cool. So I do want to extend this out just a little bit further. We'll go like right there. Because one of the things with these like pier assets is the little stilts underneath are not very long. I kind of wish that they would have just extended them out like in perpetuity, but they are not. And so nice. And there we go. And so this is actually going to help us capture this really cool kind of greenish clear look in here too. So I'm going to go ahead and let it flood real quick. It may even come onto the land. I'm hoping not, but I'm going to just let it do its thing real quick. Okay, so I let it flood out and it is looking pretty good. I really like this shallow water look. And so now let's go back into our pedestrian roads. What I want to do is create a road that actually extends out a little bit. So we'll have this kind of follow down here. And you know what? I think we're actually going to end up changing our top road too, because I really want these to be similar, but maybe if we turn off snapping, we might be able to have it follow that road a little bit better. Yeah, we actually can. So this actually might work out. So if we go like right there, how does that look? You know, it actually doesn't look bad. I think what we can do though is get rid of this and redraw this in. So if we have this follow the road down, I think it's just going to look so much better. So then if we go in here and have this go all the way down, let's actually turn on snapping so we can make sure to get that angle. And then we will have it come all the way down to like right here. Nice. So let's measure that just to see how far we had gone. Let's turn off road bending so that we can have it go on the road. So it's 31 and 31. So then we want to do the same thing on this side. So 31 and 31 and then line it up. It looks like it's 32 and 32. It doesn't look bad. It's only slightly bigger on that side. We're just going to pretend like that is perfect. So then we will come up here and connect these back up. Go like this, go like that. Nice. And this still looks pretty good. We don't have any weird kind of slopes happening. And so now what we're going to do is start designing this out. So we're going to go back into our Seaside Resort CCP and let's start choosing some buildings. So this content creator pack has some amazing buildings in here that I think are just fantastic. I really like the look of these. And so I want there to be kind of like a row of buildings in here. Now it looks like we may even have made them just a little bit too big. So if we could actually do double-sided, that could be good. So some of these buildings are pretty big too. So if we come in here, go like this, let's, some of these bigger ones we are going to use on the side. So I want to place this right there and let's move this over, Control H right there. And then let's do this other one like right next to it, possibly even 2 of these. That could be good. Yeah, look at that. Nice. And so now we got this Lawrence Hotel. We got this kind of more squared off one. Where was it? This one right here. I'm thinking if we did 2 of those, let's see how that looks. You know, that looks pretty good. And then let's, I know we have a couple other bigger ones. So let's refresh that. So we have this one. This looks fantastic. Let's refresh that again. And so we have this one, which is unused, and also this one. So let's do this bigger one since we have that bigger one kind of like right next to it. I really like that red too. I think that looks really cool. So let's go ahead and check this out now. So they are into the ground, and so we have to do some retaining walls. And I did a little bit of research on some of these older towns as well, and it's really common to have like cobblestone or like brick retaining walls for these type of areas, like hillside, vintage beach towns. And so I think this is going to look really cool. I do want to do possibly either some homes or some more buildings off the backside. Let's see if we can fit just a couple more in here. So if we refresh that again, let's see if we can get just like a couple in here, because that could just look great. I want to jump out of here. So this one actually looks pretty good. It fits in there pretty well. These ones are a little too big. This one looks good, but it's kind of like a different look. So we'll do this one back here, like right there. And then let's refresh that again. Let's see what we got. So we got these ones, which these ones actually work really well as like a kind of like a ladies almost, where they have the same buildings kind of in a row like that. So let's look at that. Yeah, you know what? I think this looks pretty cool. And so I think we'll maybe even smush that over just a smidge and see if we can fit in a couple more. So let's refresh that again. Let's come in here. I know we got a ton of buildings. Ooh, so this one actually fits. Let's look at that. So this is just like our green corner. Maybe it was like the same architect who designed that or something. So this one, let's go ahead and move to the top. So we're going to grab this and then Control H right there. Nice. And it looks like this one may even be a little bit better if we move back and then do like a really big area for this. Like maybe we'll do a restaurant. Because one of the cool things, like even though we want to try and keep like a vintage layout, because it is modern times, a lot of these would have been changed or demolished or maybe even went down in a fire or something like that. And so they would be a little different than they would look originally. So I think on the backside here, we're going to do some more of those little kind of layered homes. So we'll go like this all the way down. Yeah, look at that. I really like that look. And that's definitely more colonial on this side. These are definitely more colonial, and this is more like your Victorian style almost. And so I don't know if those actually work as well. Maybe they're just different times. Let's look at that, because I don't want to mess up the whole look. Yeah, this whole area just looks like it doesn't fit as much. Like these ones have really high steeples, really high like chimneys, and they have accentuations on the roof and everything. And these are just really squared off. So maybe if we go in here and let's go ahead and get rid of these, because again, I just don't think that they fit as well. So we'll grab that. Let's go back into this road, refresh it back into the tool. So it looks like we got this one. We do have the vintage fire station and also the police station. So maybe we'll do those. So this one looks good. And then maybe we'll do, yeah, the fire station, and then we'll do the police station as well. Because these would want to be on Main Street too. So I think that these would do well. And I think we're going to do a little driveway for the fire station. We'll do like a small little parking lot or something for this, since again, modern times, this would probably even be like a museum now. So I think this looks really cool. I really like the look of this. And I think maybe we'll even do some other homes on the backside, like some Victorian style homes. I got a ton of them off the Steam Workshop, which I think is fantastic. And so I do want to put in some other roads now before we really start detailing anything. So I want to go into this 2-lane roads with trees, and I want this to go out like right here, and we're going to come out like to the beach, and then we're going to go out every 10 units until we get to the beach. So we'll go like this, go out 10 units again, go like that, and go all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and replicate this on both sides. I don't know if we're going to do them all right now, but we shall see, because the goal is to do them all. Okay, and so I decided to pretty much go all the way down on this side, and this is one of those things that kind of captures that look. So on the Jersey Shore, you have a ton of these like cul-de-sacs that just dead end into the beach, and it's actually really cool. A lot of them have like plazas at the end or more homes. They're kind of like cul-de-sacs. And so I think it's going to be really fun for us to kind of design that out. And then I want to do a couple like bigger hotels over here, like maybe resorts for the time. And then we're going to do some big grounds for them and stuff. And so a lot of those would probably even be like designed nowadays to be like really expensive. And so now we're going to jump into our keys tab, get rid of keys, and go to retaining walls. And I got a bunch of new retaining walls. I really wanted to kind of blend up my current design theology, since I tend to use the same retaining walls a lot, and we are using retaining walls more and more now. And so let's come back here, and it looks like these homes are actually, so they have patios off the backside. I don't know if that really works for what we're trying to do. That's terrible. So let's look at these ones. So this one doesn't, this one has a small little tiny patio, so we'll do a little alleyway. Maybe actually, yeah, we'll do a small alleyway, so I think that'll work. Because that is something that you do see in older cities too, is very small alleyways. So what I'm thinking is we are going to, first off, lift this up so that that poor door down there isn't below ground. That would just be terrible. We want to line this up, and then what we're going to do is grab our retaining wall, and we're going to start at the point where it basically starts going downhill. So it looks like way back here. And what I'm going to do is just draw this all the way around, leaving enough room back here for a small alleyway. Okay, and so now I'm going to grab these 2 points and lift them up, and so that we are level with the bottom of this building. And there we go. You know what? That actually looks pretty good. You know, I think that's gonna work out. So now I'm going to jump into a surface network, go into fencing, and go to our pavement. And I'm just going to go ahead and put in a floor in here real quick. Okay, and so now let's look at that. This is already looking really cool. I like this old kind of like rundown brick retaining wall too. And so I'm going to go ahead and throw in some stairs. And then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and do all the retaining walls we need. So I think I'm going to do a retaining wall right here. We're going to do a retaining wall right there. We'll do one right here. And it looks like maybe we can get away with that one over here. Yeah, this looks okay. This looks like it may need some help. So if we go in here and raise this up, how bad is this going to look? Maybe lower it down. Is that going to be better? So if we lower that down, if we go like right there, yeah, you know, we can get away with a small deck on this one just to kind of fill those in. Maybe even extend the stairs out a bit. But then on this side, it looks like we're definitely high up. Yeah, so we'll need to do a small retaining wall for this side. Maybe we'll even extend this one out. And so I'm going to go ahead and get all those done real quick, and then we'll start doing the alleyways and stuff and really start decorating out more of this and then start jumping into homes and stuff. Okay, and so I am done with the retaining walls, and don't worry, I'm going to come back through and do some decals and fences and everything. But for right now, I think this looks fantastic. I really like the look of these. I was kind of hoping to not have to do as many retaining walls, but it's just because we're on these hills. It's just something that we would have to do. I don't know if it's entirely realistic to have this many retaining walls, but once we come back through and decorate it all, it'll really help to tie it all in. And so the next thing I want to do is jump down here, and we're going to use the picker mod, grab this road, and use the freeform tool. And I want to make sure that snapping is on so that we can follow that key wall down. We'll go like right here and then follow this down. And the reason I want to do this is because it's going to help us have a little seaside road, which I think is just awesome. This would be where like you can go for a stroll, you know, there'd be benches and stuff, just kind of hang out by the water and just enjoy yourself. And so let's go ahead and do the same thing on this side, and it looks like it is having a similar issue to what we had before. Nice. And so let's jump in here, make sure that these are the same height. It looks like maybe I shifted just a smidge. And so we will go into the slope tool and grab this just to make sure that we are at the correct height. We'll go like that. Yeah, it looks like we were just a little off, not much though. And so let's go ahead and smoothen out just a little bit of that. And we actually, you know, I was going to smoothen that out, but I don't think we're going to. So if we grab this and make this into a little bit of a ledge, I think this will turn into our first little resort area. So if we grab this and go ahead and go all the way back. So I think we're going to jump in here, go like this, just kind of shift this around a little bit. And there we go. And let's come in here and smoothen this out. Looks like we were way off on that side. Yeah, so we have like almost a natural kind of area right here. It does look like this is just a little too high. So we'll go ahead and lift that back. And so let's grab our second pedestrian road and bring this across. And I want this to follow that first road. So if we go all the way down, is this going to, I think it's going to mess up. So if we go on this side, let's go like this, have it follow down. And so let's look at some of those bigger buildings now. So we have the Osbury Chasm Hotel. This one is actually not that big. I'm surprised we didn't use it in the other build. So we have the historical library, which I think is really cool. We definitely want to get one of those. Not even, if we could get the library back there, that would be really cool, especially for that whole small town vibe. So we have these still, the colonial, which I don't know if we're going to do. So let's, this one. So the Ocean View Hotel, and this one is actually pretty sizable. So if we go ahead and put this one like right there, let's see how this looks. It's a pretty cool color. It's definitely a little more colonial than Victorian. I really like the wraparound porch though. I think that that looks amazing. And so I think we will do a small retaining wall here, and then I want to do a ground. So I want to have like some pergolas, and we'll probably even do a pool since modern day society probably would have purchased this hotel. And so I think we're going to turn this whole area into the grounds of the hotel. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and throw in that retaining wall real quick. I think I'm just going to do a wall right here, and then we're going to do stairs on either side because I want to do some ground. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. Okay, so I think that that is probably good. And so we'll do some stairs. And then I want to jump into our little pergolas, and it's kind of cool. They released some new pergolas, a part of the new DLCs, and so now we have this modern pergola, actually 2 modern pergolas, or 3 modern, they're all modern pergolas. But I like pergolas. I think they look really cool. We've used pergolas in the past as well as like gazebos and stuff, and I ended up getting a couple new pergolas. Though it's kind of funny, this one is called a pergola, though it's more designed like a gazebo, because I don't think pergolas technically have floors. I think pergolas are more like canopies, like a canopy is very similar to a pergola. I'm not really sure what defines a pergola or not, but I'm going to go ahead and throw in some stairs right here real quick. Okay, so I got the stairs in, and they're kind of sloping down. So what I'm thinking is we will go back into our pergolas, and I want to do just a couple of these. So we're going to probably do a line of them, not that big. So we'll go into spacing, let's go ahead and double it. So we'll go 16. Yeah, we'll go like this. Perfect. So we're going to do 4. And then what I'm thinking is we're going to create each one of them into their own little separate space. So it does look like this one's a little low too. So we'll grab this, raise it up, grab this, raise it up. All right, and so I think that that is good. We're going to go ahead and throw in some bushes and then just make it, just clean it up a little bit. And the bushes are actually super easy. So if we grab these, jump into our spacing, go down to 2, not 126. That would be really big. I don't even know how big that would be. But we're going to bring this down, and then we're going to go all the way across. Go like this, go like that. Perfect. And then we will fill in these little gaps with them as well, since these would be like for rent a lot of times, or maybe like they're doing like a big wedding. They would probably have like different groups in these. And I got this inspiration from, it was like an image on when I was looking at vintage style like hotels and stuff. I saw this one that had a bunch of these like very similar style, and I was like, that is so cool. And so I want to jump into our new content creator pack now. So we will go into here, and I believe it's actually the mid-century modern one. So if we go to mid-century modern, one of the cool things, they gave you these like sidewalks, which I think are just fantastic. So if we go like this, yeah, deck, look at this. So let's draw this in. It looks like that's actually like really small. Yeah, so we want to do the deck 3. So we'll grab this and then go down. Okay, so I think that this is pretty good. So now what we do need to focus on is some parking. And so because these are pedestrian roads, nobody would be able to park down here. Well, we would definitely need to get some parking up here. This would just be something that we wouldn't be able to get away with. So if we do, let's see, so I have this 2x10. How does this look? So if I go, that's actually pretty big. Maybe a parking garage? A parking garage would probably look like an eyesore. So if we go parking garage and look at this, so let's see how this looks. So if we grab this, this would, it would definitely be a big tourist trap. And I'm sure with investments, they probably would end up putting in a parking garage. And so maybe we'll leave this parking garage here. And what we'll do is a little more modern of a shopping mall back here. And so this would be like new investment into the area, and the big draw would be like the vintage seashore, which this would be where all your like little souvenir shops and stuff would be. But this would be more of your like, let's park and walk in and just enjoy, the countryside. Or like if you stayed in this hotel, like you would probably have to park and then walk over here. You wouldn't be able to actually drive down here because these are pedestrian roads. And so that'd be kind of interesting. Maybe there'd be a shuttle or something like that. Maybe that. Or maybe there'd be a monorail. Maybe we should do a monorail or something. I didn't really think about that. Because the pedestrian roads, like this would be really far back here. And so it would be really hard to get to, and you wouldn't want your guests to be like trapped. So maybe they would just do a shuttle probably. But who knows? Maybe paths as well. I'm not really sure. I didn't really think about that. So let's come in here now, and we will go ahead and copy this across. Let's do the same thing that we did on the other side. And then I think we're going to do another resort right here. So we'll jump in to find it, go to our lovely content creator pack, Seaside Resorts, and let's refresh this and go over here and see what else we got. So we have Old Orchard House, and then we'll do a similar thing. It's another resort, and so we would want people we'll probably do some grass too and make this into a whole little nice area. I think that looks good. I think we will save the rest of it for our detailing time lapse for that. I do want to start working on this area now. And so one of the more modern touches, I would really like to get some of our pedestrian kind of plazas in here. I feel like that would just be fantastic if we could get a couple of these. Even though that these definitely are a more modern take on this, I still think that it would be kind of cool. So like the city, you know, in modern times decided to build this out. And yeah, I think I really like this plaza a lot. I think this is cool, especially, you know, it's got the raised roof too. So, okay. And so I really like this entranceway. It's definitely more of a modern touch on our vintage area. And so now we do need to get a service area in here. And I really don't want it to be right on the entrance. So I'm thinking maybe we'll do a small little service plaza over here. I think that would be good. So if we jump into a regular 1-unit road, go ahead and bring this up, and then we'll go ahead and go like this as well. We'll go up one more, turn off snapping because it doesn't want me to do that. And so we will go up here now and connect this up. Perfect. And so let's go into our pedestrian tab now, and we will go ahead and do, so we could do a small one or a large one. Let's go ahead and do a small one, and then we'll do a small cargo area as well. Let's look at these though. So I know if we grab this and put it on the other side, it tends to look a little bit better. So if we go like this, yeah, you know what? That actually looks pretty good, and they look very similar. And so we will go ahead and do that, and then let's do a small warehouse over here too. So we will go in here, go to warehouses, and we have this distribution center which would actually be kind of nice. So let's look at this. So if we go like that, how does that look? So if we move these over just a smidge, yeah, and then move this. So if we go like right here, so we have a big large distribution center. So we have a cargo intake right here basically. So this would be how all of our buildings get their deliveries. This would be how all of our buildings get their trash taken out. And then this would be for commercial zone goods. So like we would get goods delivered into this area, which would actually be really smart. You know what? I actually like the look of this. And so what we'll do is now jump into a fence and just do a fence around the outside to kind of close it off. And voila. So now we have made our lovely distribution center, and we'll probably still do some more trees around the outside. I really want to focus on a lot of palm trees in this area, so I don't want to get crazy with these boreals. Those would just be more of like a privacy tree than anything else. So now I want to do the same thing, but with these young lindens, and we're going to increase that spacing to 12, go all the way down, and then we can remove surface painter from this area because we do not need it. And voila, so we have our first distribution center. I think we'll probably still do some more containers and stuff back here, just kind of clean it up, maybe do a couple forklifts, something like that. But I think this looks good. So now our whole area is service. Let's make sure that that's in our pedestrian area. It's not. And then while we're at it, let's go ahead and throw in some water pipes as well. Okay, so now we have water and we have adequate pedestrian coverage. So now all these buildings are live, and we should start getting some people walking down here soon. So let's jump in here and go back to our Seaside resorts. Go like this. Go ahead and actually we're not in the right tab. So if we go to pier, grab that, get rid of pier. Let's refresh this and see what buildings we don't have. So we don't have this one. This one's along the ocean though. So we don't have this one. So let's jump out of this kind of weird view. Go like this. Yeah, you know what? This looks cool. That one looks great. And then we do have this library as well, which I think would be a fantastic asset for our area. So let's go ahead and place that for there right now. And then maybe we'll do our little colonial area right here. So if we do like 3 of these, and then let's do our squared kind of colonial building in the back. Oh, it looks like we still have a couple of these. So we have those ones down there, but I think there's a couple more that we haven't used. So we've used all those. Ooh, we haven't used this one. So let's move this over just a smidge and then put this one right next to it, or even right there. Yeah, we'll do that right there. And then we'll move this one over. Just, it's during those times, they didn't really leave a lot of space. So normally these buildings are right next to each other. So I think that that's a little more realistic. I do like this though. I think that this looks pretty cool, having these right next to each other, especially with the big glass plaza in the middle. It's like a, modern spin on it. Like they're, keeping all these buildings intact, but they're also making a ton of money off of them. And so now I think we can get a couple of these in here. So if we go like this, go like that, let's go ahead and look at that. So how does that look? So that doesn't look bad. And then we can do some alleyways and stuff in the back, since these are kind of on the bigger side. And then I think we'll do another little retaining wall back here, or we could do, some more homes. Let's actually see how these look, because I don't think that those have. No, you know what? I don't want to mess up that view. Okay, so now what I want to start working on is our homes. And so I actually got these awesome Victorian homes by their creator, C. Bud, with 2 Ds. and they are Victorian style homes. He has decorated and undecorated, and so NZ is the decorated version. I actually really like these buildings. I think they look super cool. They come with some great decorations too. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is just plop down a bunch of them real quick, and then we'll come back through and kind of look at all the buildings and see what we have. Okay, so I finished the homes, and honestly, this is the look that I was going for. It is a really cool look. This definitely reminds me of like Cape May. You have these kind of big homes, all wood slats. A lot of them white. I like that a lot of them are different colors too. It definitely captures a more Victorian style. I'm not entirely certain if that is the exact style of the Jersey Shore, but it just, definitely reminds me of it, especially with little cul-de-sacs kind of going into the ocean. And so now what I do want to do is go ahead and create another little key wall in here, and we're going to turn this into basically like a big kind of plaza area at the edge of these. Okay, and so I think this looks really good. I like the steps in here. I kind of wish that it was the big piers. I was kind of playing around with it. I think it would have looked a little bit better, but I like the look of it. I like the stone. I think it looks fantastic, especially with these homes. We're going to come back through and do some invisible paths, make sure people walk through here, and we're going to do some bushes and stuff. And I want to do some more path networks and just make it so that people are walking around. And so now what I want to do is go ahead and jump on this side. I'm going to do some homes, and then I don't know if we're going to do another key wall again, just because we got some stuff over here and we're not planning on going all the way down right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and get those houses in and then start decorating up a little bit of them, and then we'll kind of go over it whenever I'm finished with them. Okay, and so I got the homes finished on this side, and you know what? I think that this is really cool. I like this vintage area so much, especially it looks a little barren right now, but it's just because we don't have any trees or anything in there. And so we're going to come back through, do some palm trees, and just really clean all this up. And then we need to do our resorts. I'm not really sure what we're going to do on this side yet, but we need to do something. Okay, and so now I'm going to jump into a detailing time lapse. And so I'm going to go ahead and put in some trees, do palm trees all the way around. I'm going to decorate our 2 hotels right here, and then I want to come into our little main street and do some decorations as well. And I'm going to be Googling up like vintage little downtowns for this to try to make it look authentic. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump into a time lapse. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys on the other end. Okay, so I have finally finished, and I gotta say, I really enjoy this area. So I decided to turn a lot of our patios into seating areas with some planters, and then I turned some of them into little restaurant spaces. So maybe they're like bed and breakfasts, or maybe they're running a restaurant out of the buildings. I thought it was just a really nice touch for these areas. I wasn't really sure what to do with a lot of them. For a lot of the buildings, I just did like bushes with trees, just to kind of fill it in. There's a lot of sand in here that I didn't really want to move. Especially since it's so close to the beach, maybe there would be a lot of sand here. I decided to do a little statue over here with our police department and our fire department. Maybe this is like our first police chief riding in on horseback. Felt like it was a nice little touch. I did put a park right here with some curbs that are kind of covered up by the sand a little bit. I did a cemetery, and then I did a health clinic over here because we were definitely lacking coverage. For our bigger resort areas, I did a huge restaurant space back here with some little privacy hedges, some benches, a couple little planters, just so that people could enjoy the view. But then I did some private little event spaces over here. So I did some gazebos, pergolas, some couches, little chairs, some cabanas, so that maybe you could rent these out and throw a party or something. I did them on both sides. I felt like this was going to be really nice. This would just be really fun. Like maybe you could rent out a couple of them, or maybe you're doing a wedding or something. So you'd like set up a big like reception area or something like that. I did do a pool in this area with another privacy hedge going around with some cabanas, another little restaurant space, and then maybe there's a restaurant here. If you wanted to sit out on the patio, you could. And then another thing I did, I decided to remove our quay wall over here. After kind of detailing with it and looking at it and looking at pictures online of some vintage seashores, I felt like it just wasn't really going to fit in. And so I decided to do some foliage kind of going off into the sand a little bit. This is something that is characteristic of the Jersey Shore. And so I really wanted to try to capture that a little bit, especially with these buildings. I really like the look of these, and I really like the details that some of these buildings have too. I think they're just fantastic assets. But I really like this area, and so now let's go ahead and check it out in night view. So at night, I initially had decided to go a little crazy and put in floodlights along like all the buildings, and it was just really bright, and so I decided against that. I wanted to do white floodlights kind of accentuating our quay wall and then also our pier. I felt like this was a nice touch, just kind of, highlighting this part of the city, especially as we expand out, this all kind of light up. I did put in lights for our big resort areas, especially on the little deck area. Like this would need to be really well lit, and also the, event spaces. If somebody's renting this out, they would want to be able to see, especially at night. But maybe they'd also have like colored lights. I'm not really sure. Over here did the same thing, and then I really like the lighting that comes with the pedestrian streets. I feel like they're actually really well lit. Initially, I'd put in like floodlights along this, and it just really lit up the buildings too much. I was like, you know what, this just isn't great. And so a lot of our little planters do have lights as well. I decided to light this one up, but then a lot of the other patios I just kind of left with the planters. I felt like it was a nice touch. And so let's go ahead and switch back to day. And so I'm actually really happy with how this turned out, and it is becoming pretty popular too. We're kind of getting a little bit of a backup here, especially as we expand out this area and also across the water a little bit. We will probably end up having to kind of rework our accessibility a little bit, though we do have good access over here. But go ahead and let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you enjoyed this episode, you will definitely enjoy the episode on your screen. And thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.